Hello, hello, hello. It is B with the B code, and welcome back to my channel. First of all, as usual, I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers and those who watch my videos. Um, Let me do something really quick. Here we go. All right, so please feel free to hit the thumbs up, thumbs down, put your comments in the comment section once the video is done, or you can comment in the chat if you are privy to this live. So, today I have a heart wrenching 60-minute video that I wanted to share. Um, in this particular video, this is not a nursing home, but this is a group home. But I mean, it pretty much all the same is considered a facility. This type of abuse also occurs in nursing homes. The nature and the level of abuse in this video was just so terrifying to me. Now, we're used to seeing, news reports on nursing home abuse, and they've shown us videos. And a lot of times it is, the patient is able to fight back, swing their fists, kick, block, and different things of that nature. But in this instance, this patient was so vulnerable. I mean, vulnerable to the point where she could do absolutely nothing at the time the abuse is occurring to defend herself. This is a patient that has cerebral palsy, cannot talk, cannot basically move without somebody moving her. And the only form of communication that she could use was her eyes. And you guys, I mean, when I go into these nursing facilities, this is one of the things that I seek out and try to prevent. And I can honestly tell you, when I go into skilled nursing to work as a nurse, I can tell immediately that there's abuse going on because of the way I'm treated when I get hired and I come in for orientation or when I'm on the floor. You can immediately tell that there is some form of abuse occurring in a facility according to how you are treated. It's all smiles when you are filling out your application. It's all smiles during your interview. They tell you, they touch upon things in orientation. It's all smiles in orientation when you're watching videos, and they're giving you information and different things of that nature. But when you hit the floor for your actual orientation on the floor, you can tell how they treat you, that there is abuse going on the floor. Now, I'm just going to tell you how I receive new employees when I'm employed. And you can ask anybody. You can ask any and everybody. When there's a new employee that comes into the building, this is exactly what I do. Welcome to so and so facility. I'm so glad you decided to come here and work with us. Let me know if you need anything, and I will be happy to help you. If I don't say all of that, I'll at least say, "Oh, you're new here. Okay, well, welcome." I'm like, "All team spirit. Welcome to so and such facility. And let me know if you need anything. My name is Belinda." I always introduce myself. "Oh, you're new. My name is Belinda. How are you? What's your name?" "Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Welcome. Let me know if you need anything." That's how I receive people. I don't get received like that. And sometimes it's not directed towards me. Sometimes it's just the culture and the attitudes of the people that are working there. So I can't say all the time that, every time I go work into a new facility that I'm treated, rudely. But it is how it's the attitude and the behavior and the call lights and the way the patients look, the way the rooms look. And it's just like, oh my God, what is going on in here? So when I enter a facility, my number one goal is to help out. My number one goal as a registered nurse, charge nurse, supervisor, med nurse, whatever my job title might happen to be at that point in time, it's always to make things better. It's always to make the environment cleaner. It's always to set a good example by being good to other people, being good to the residents. But mostly being good to the residents, because if you see that, hey, there's nothing wrong with treating people with dignity and respect, follow my lead. You may have been following a lead to where the patient hasn't been treated with dignity and respect by an employee, and people are following that lead because that is one of the strongest employees in the building. So people usually gravitate to the strongest employee in the building, and they act according to how that employee acts. So I come in as another form of a strong individual, and I'm going in the positive direction. So if it's so, and I'm letting people know that it's okay to follow me and treat people with dignity and respect. But sometimes it's a battle. It becomes a battle between good and evil, right? And then also, the longer the employees have been in the building, the more, how do I want to say this? Um, the more they are indoctrinated towards bad behavior. The longer you have the good, strong employees in the building, the more the behavior will be indoctrinated towards good. So basically, what we're doing here is in these skilled nursing facilities, in these group homes, in these assisted living facilities, we it's a battle between good and evil, right? And sometimes the entire culture and workup of the building is just so evil that it outweighs the good, and the good is eventually pushed out. People don't want to change. They have been conditioned to be what I would call disgusting individuals. How disgusting of you and how wicked of you that you would follow evil instead of following good. But the devil's children are everywhere. And instead of running God's children away, the devil's children should actually be the ones um, run away. But when you actually have the devil's son or the devil's daughter who's in control, and and they're per se having more of the devil's children and cousins and younger siblings and different things of that nature in the facility, you just get a facility that's riddled with the devil's children and the devil's relatives, I want to say. So anyway, I'm not going to drag this out any further. We're going to get uh, into this video because I think it's over an hour, and I'm going to present the entire video that I'm going to be giving my commentary on. It is just, oh wow, it's heart wrenching for me. I wanted to cry. The patient has cerebral palsy, and I actually have I had a sister that suffered from cerebral palsy. And fortunately, she did not have to go into a nursing home because we had family that was able to take care of her until her last days. So I can imagine the treatment that she would have received in one of these care facilities. And it's funny how I see the woman in the video communicating. And my sister was also the same way. She was not able to communicate a lot, but I'll tell you the one thing she was able to do. She was able to say my name. And the communication that we had, I was only, um, oh my God, I was very, very, very young when, her, she became the way she was. And so, yeah, I really focus on the good memories with her. But anyhow, let's get into this video. And it really hit home for me. And like I said, I'm appreciative to the Lord up above that she was able to have family to take care of her. So here we go.
That's what they kept getting told. Their daughter would. Physical abuse Leanne Mackey received at the hands of the people employed to look after her at the group home where she lived. But as you'll see, these carers couldn't care less. They thought because Leanne has severe cerebral palsy and is non-verbal, they'd get away with their vile behaviour. Now, while it's correct Leanne doesn't speak, she's not voiceless. Unknown to her attackers, she communicated the mistreatment to her parents, Lorraine and Rob, who then took the law into their own hands using a hidden camera to expose a terrible truth. 53-year-old Leanne Mackey is as big a Brisbane Lions fan as you'll find, and she's probably one of their sassiest supporters. Never mind her severe cerebral palsy or her inability to speak, she still has a voice.
It's pretty basic, really, for communication.
As her mum Lorraine explains, Leanne moves her eyes to our right for yes and our left for no. Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where Leanne looks for yes or no.
Yeah.
Cold or hot. When you have a conversation with Leanne, it's clear her mind is sharp, as is her sense of humour. So your dad was telling me it was a big moment for him when you decided to live on your own. It took him 2 years to get used to you being gone. Did you miss him as much? No.
See how she's able to communicate. This is a family that had a lot of help with this young lady, and they learned how she communicates and the best way to communicate with her since she doesn't have an actual voice.
He'll love that you said that.
Did you miss me? No? Oh, that was a maybe.
Yes and no. Got to say nice things about Mum when she's sitting in front of you, don't you? Yes.
It's nearly time to go in and have a cup of coffee. And
The bond between Leanne and her parents, Rob and Lorraine, is obvious. She makes a practice of giving them stick, and they love her for it.
her personality is happy, easygoing, fun-loving, caring person with a great sense of humour, always worried about other people, beautiful person. Everybody that came in touch with her fell in love with her. Yeah.
Very affable. Just, yeah, that's Leanne to a T. Was Leanne.
Not anymore?
No, not anymore. Our happy, affable, lovable girl is no longer what she used to be.
Shut the fuck up.
Mm,
Shut up. Stop
Mm.
yelling.
mm,
What you're about to see is a gross betrayal of our most vulnerable. Vile physical abuse and bullying inflicted on Leanne by the people paid to care for her.
Now look at this. I mean, I don't understand this because you have a younger woman and then you have an older woman that should be the leader in what's going on here. This older lady should be guiding and teaching and training this young lady on how to treat people because she knows. But this is what is occurring behind the scenes in these patients' rooms while they're supposed to be giving compassionate care to these people. So, as we've seen across the globe, this is in another country. This is in Australia. So this is worldwide. That's why I say this world is full of disgusting and wicked people. And it's horrific. Look at what they're doing to this poor patient. Look at what they're doing. This is just this is egregious.
Callous treatment that stunned authorities.
She said she was in fear. She was scared. She was frightened.
Mm.
And she was upset. How could she not be?
Let's back that up. Did you just see that? Did you just see that?
Callous treatment that stunned authorities.
She said she was in fear. She was scared. She was frightened. And she was upset. How could she not be?
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That is horrific. That is so wicked. Oh my God. Oh my God. These are two mentally sick individuals. Oh my goodness. Oh.
And astounded disability advocates.
It was shocking. It was appalling.
Did you guys see that she spit in the tube? She spit in the tube for it to go in this woman's mouth. I mean, who does that? Who does that? I mean, you have to be so messed up in the mind. You have to be so messed up in the mind to treat someone so vulnerable, to treat anybody like that. Anybody that's not even vulnerable, to treat them like that. That is truly disgusting. You're going to hear disgusting and wicked throughout this whole video. It's just so disgusting and wicked. But here's the thing. And I want to say this from the jump. I'm under the impression that this is how these women were treated as children. They could have been treated like that as children by their mothers. They could have been treated like this anywhere that they grew up and places that they've gone. Still no excuse, but this type of behavior is learned behavior. Right? And where do we initially learn to behave or receive abuse? At home. At home, our parents are the first ones to abuse us, or a close relative, or a friend of your mother's, or, anybody that's closest to you or that has access to you while you're growing up as a child. This is why we have to be careful. We have to protect our children from the start because they grow up to be these types of disgusting individuals. And then we can't even blame it all on childhood because once you become a grown woman, you have choices You have choices even before you become grown, of how you're going to behave and how you're going to treat people. But these are two fully grown women who decide that they're going to torment this patient with cerebral palsy in their care. I mean, how do you trust anything after that? How do you trust anything after that? And then um, management, the ones that are supposed, everybody's supposed to protect the patient, but management to not have recognized this type of thing. And I bet you this isn't the only patient that this was happening to. I bet you. I bet you $1 million that this wasn't the only patient that they were doing these disgusting things to. And what I will also like to say is that sometimes people are jealous. They're just jealous people. This young lady had the love of her father and the love of her mother. They came to visit her, took her out, and these people were probably jealous of her. That's probably why at the end of the day they treated her like they did, because they were jealous. They didn't receive the appropriate love and care when they were growing up, and they see that despite of her disability, her parents still love her and adore her, and they're jealous. You don't have to be the most beautiful person in the world. You don't have to be fully functioning in the world to receive love from the people in your life. And they're jealous of this. And I wonder, what these young ladies have gone through, and what they were currently going through at that time to make them behave in such a way. But then we've seen it in many of these nursing home abuse videos. These people are just disgusting. And me personally, I think they should be wiped off the face of the earth. But that's just my opinion.
Leanne's complaints ignored and disbelieved until Rob and Lorraine caught her abusers on camera. It must have been awful to be proven right.
Was
Oh, it's horrific. Absolutely horrific.
Oh my
They
God.
assumed.
Stuck her fingers in this woman's mouth and laughed because she didn't have a gag reflex. I mean, the oh my God. Oh my God. I sat and I watched this entire thing. 28-minute special. I watched the entire thing because I wanted to know from beginning to end what happened. And you will be shocked at the end to find out what happened.
Think that they could get away with it.
Did you understand why they were treating you that way? No, that's a clear no.
basically no.
But now, thanks to Leanne's bravery, police are putting the care industry on notice.
The message is that we're aware that this is happening. We're here. And we're waiting for you to report it to us.
You're making a promise to act
Yep.
and
Certainly am.
protect.
Yep. Absolutely.
For 25 years, Leanne has been living in independent housing run by Scope, one of Victoria's biggest disability support providers. In 1999, Leanne decided that she was done living with mum and dad and took the big step of moving out. For years, Leanne was happy. Then, 5 years ago, her parents noticed a dramatic change in their daughter. They were immediately suspicious of how she was being treated. When did you first notice that there was something amiss, something was wrong?
Early in 2019, we started to realise that Leanne was sort of struggling with pain. We took her to the rehab specialist that looked after her. They did test to find out that she had done quite a few fractures, old fractures.
What were those fractures from?
They were fracturing this woman's bones by the careless handling of her. She never received treatment for any of these fractures, and they just healed on their own. but she continued to get more and more and more fractures, causing her to be in severe pain. And there was no one there that to assess her or make sure that she was properly being taken care of. And this is a shame. This is a shame. I know it was probably difficult communicating with her, but there was a way that she communicated, and this is what the nurse was supposed to be doing. She was supposed to be making every attempt to do a full assessment on this patient and make sure that she was being taken care of appropriately. And this is not what happened.
From
They're from rough manual handling. Leanne was said they were pulling her across the bed with her arms and legs.
this doctor's report from 2019 identifies those numerous fractures, but Scope Management refused to take responsibility, claiming there was no medical evidence their staff caused them. At the same time, Leanne was diagnosed with osteoporosis, which, as her parents know, means she needs to be moved with great care. But she complained the rough handling from staff continued.
Oh, yeah, you want to grab that pillow for me?
The worst part of it, Scope didn't acknowledge what we were telling them. They didn't take responsibility for her rough handling.
And let me say this. When they went to management to complain or to bring it to their attention, it's not that management doesn't care. It's just that, in the world of delusion, we want to give everyone a fair opportunity to be looked upon as a wonderful individual. As, oh no, they're in the caring and helping field because they want to help people and because they care. So we don't want to even look into the possibility that we've hired some non-caring staff, some people that are just here to get a check, and just here for their own selfish need and greed. Oh, we don't want to look at that aspect. We want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But you do that initially, and then when things arise, now your ears are supposed to poke up and your senses are supposed to be enhanced so that you can monitor for these types of things, right? So the family having put a camera in, the family should not have been the first ones to put a camera in. The management should have been the first ones to put a camera in. They could have put a camera in. They could have seen this type of behavior occur, and they could have gotten rid of these staff members immediately, right? But one of the things that management also doesn't like to happen is they like to prevent lawsuits from happening. But in order to prevent lawsuits from happening, they have to turn a blind eye to what's really going on. You can sense when staff is abusive because you can see the way they talk to you, right? You can sense that staff is abusive by the way they take care of their environment at the job, the way the patient's rooms look, the lack of following policy and procedure, the lack of following infection control, the lack of that when you walk in the room and you see the patient looks like they haven't been checked on in umpteenth years. The blankets are in disarray, the sheet is in disarray, the pillow is hanging off the bed. You can tell that there's a lack of care. You don't even want to make the patient look decent in the bed. They're low in the bed. They can't breathe. The neck is crunched up. The legs are hanging out the bed. The feet are smashed up against the footboard. I mean, you can just tell that there's abuse going on in here and that the staff is not focused on the patients. They're focused on their cell phones and eating and socializing and sitting. There's a lot of sitting that goes on. And that is not the function of direct care staff. You should be on the floor, on your feet, and taking care of these patients. That means your breaks and your lunch breaks are pretty much, and when you're documenting, are pretty much the only times you should be sitting down. So you're supposed to be continuously making rounds on your patients, doing what you're supposed to be doing. Why does the patient not have ice water? What time did you think it was an appropriate time to pass ice water? Why do you think you can go the whole entire shift without passing ice water or spot passing ice water? See, they'll spot pass ice water. And I'm gonna tell you, the only ones that get ice water are the ones that ask for it. But it's not a let me go around and offer. You're supposed to be on your feet with the ice cart, going room to room and offering ice water or offering water, period. This is not what's happening because they're not there for the patients, they're there for themselves. And then when a nurse like me comes in the building and tries to refocus staff to let's focus on these patients. This is what you're getting paid for. This is what you're here for. Otherwise, feel free to clock out and go home, or feel free to call off if this is not what your focus is going to be when you enter this building. But like I always say, if direct care staff has to put in hard work for the shift, that means all staff have to put in hard work for the shift. And who wants to do hard work? Who wants to work hard, right? We want to just be at leisure, even though the patients aren't receiving appropriate care and we aren't doing what we're supposed to be doing.
And it just kept going on.
There's more lip service, wasn't it? You sort of,
Yeah, and that's what they have, a lot of lip service, blowing a lot of smoke up your ass about how we do things this way and we take pride in this, and you know, our patients, your family member is going to receive the best care here. It's selling, sell. And then the reality of the situation is it's just a bunch of smoke being blown up your ass. Now, if you gonna say something, mean it. But when they say things, in order for them to mean it, the supervisors, the med nurses have to be out on the floor as well. The supervisors have to be out on the floor. The director of nursing has to be out on the floor. The administrators have to be out on the floor. The social worker has to be out on the floor. The MDS nurse has to be out on the floor. And most importantly, your director of staff development is supposed to be on the floor. So what's happening is that, yeah, we got a lot of lip about how our patients are to be treated, but that's not what's happening. It sounds good, but when you actually look at what's going on, the reality of the situation is that it's all bad.
nearly every time, the response you would get would be always in their favour. You know, because we've investigated, but why would this person make that complaint if it wasn't true?
Yep.
And you always felt that it was basically looking after the brand or the staff member rather than the person they're caring for. Oh, we'll come and check on you shortly.
Right. But looking out for the patient is looking out for the brand, right? The patients are the telltale sign of the brand, not the family members, because you can, you know, just like they blow smoke up your ass to the state when they come in, they blow smoke up the ass to the family that comes in, right? So they'll be all smiles in the family's face and, oh, we love your mom so much, she's so wonderful, and yes, she's really progressing in X, Y, and Z, and her infection is cleared, and oh my God, and while the family is present, the patient just receives so much attention and so much love and care and gentle handling, and everybody's professional. And then when you leave, that's not actually how the patient is being treated. Right. And so what happens is the family gets on these reviews and, oh, this is a wonderful facility. And thanks to them, my mom, hogwash. That's only because that's what they show to you when you're actually at the building. But then when you leave, honey, it's a whole different story. So I don't trust family reviews. They don't know what they're saying. I will trust what the patient is saying. Listen to the patient, the one that's actually receiving the care 24 hours a day, and when management is not in the building and when family is not in the building.
To her parents' dismay, Leanne's condition got worse. She was in constant pain, not sleeping, and clearly distressed. And yet their concerns were repeatedly dismissed by Scope. So, in an act of desperation, Rob and Lorraine took the law into their own hands.
I thought, well, what the heck's going on?
Now, let me say this. Yes, when the family comes in, you want to put it on a little extra thick, because you want to give the family that reassurance that their family member is being taken care of. But let it be the truth, right? Let it be the truth. So yes, you're gonna smile a little extra. You're going to be a little bit extra in your behavior, your good behavior, right? And then because when the family is there and you're talking to the family, that is who you are focused on at that time, right? So you don't go to a family member and then start talking about somebody else's care. So no, yes, this is why it seems a little extra, because your undivided attention is focused on this family and it's focused on the patient at that time. But yes, when the family leaves, it's like, okay, so we've addressed family. We see right now that the patient is taken care of. They're clean, dry, they're free of odor, they're comfortable in their wheelchair or in their bed, different things of that nature. And so now that the little get together is over, now we can now turn our attention to the other residents in here that needs to be taken care of. But when we double back to this patient whose family just left, we are going to continue to treat the patient with the dignity and respect that we did while the family members were here. And this is what I'm saying. This is not what's happening. We're all smiles when the family is here, but then when they leave, and then we double back to the patient, now we're mean, aggressive, and impatient, right? So if you're going to be that way in front of the family, be that way when the family is not there. But that's the actress in these employees. They're actresses and actors, and they really don't give a hot hoot about the patient. And I'm just going to say this. It is lack of training. You have to train adults how to treat people. If you find that they don't know how to treat people and they bring in that mess inside of your facility, oh no, you have to go through a retraining, honey. We have to set our expectations and we have to set our standards in this building with you. And of course the goals should be obtainable for the employee. But if you can't reach and stick to these expectations, then I'm sorry, we can't have you here anymore. But then what ends up happening is that the facility doesn't want to pay unemployment. So they have to be careful when they just let people go or fire people or different things. They rather run you out or do something, try to do something else to you so that you quit, because if you quit, there's no guarantee you'll get unemployment. But one of the things they're really, really running from is having to pay you unemployment, which is only half of your check. So if you make $2,000 a month on unemployment, you're only going to get $1,000 a month. And really, who wants to live off $1,000 a month? It's not going to do anything. That's why you have a full-time job. So yeah, a lot of times they are turning a blind eye because they know they'd have to fire this staff member. But also in doing so, if you're firing someone for abuse, you have to turn that into the state, and then they're going to have to come and investigate, and you're going to get a tag because the patient was abused. And this is one of the reasons why you had to fire the employee. So it's a double-edged sword for the company, right? But at the same time, if you educate and train the staff on how you want them to be you want them to treat the patients, then you get a different outcome. So here's what I do. I don't just run around accusing people of abuse. A lot of times what I'll do, like if I hear a staff member and her speech towards her, let's say her dialogue with the patient is inappropriate. It's not abusive, but it's inappropriate. We all get frustrated. We all we're all impatient and different things of that nature. But what I do is I like to pull the staff member to the side and say, hey, we can't speak to the patient like that because it sounds aggressive, right? It sounds like you're impatient, right? You have to calm down, take a couple of deep breaths, and you have to focus on this patient. A lot of times it's because the staff member is focused. Oh, I got to change Miss So and So room 110, Miss So and So in room 112. She want to go out to smoke. I answered the call light for 109 and she wants to be changed. And I answered the call light. No, and in room 108, I got to give her a shower. So they're thinking of all these things while they're in front of the patient. So therefore their behavior isn't intentionally aggressive or impatient. They're thinking about all the things that they have to do. So that is where, your supervisors and charge nurses and things are making rounds where we're supposed to keep our eyes and ears open. And if we hear or see anything that is not conducive to a good patient outcome, we have to pull them aside and we have to give them a mini training on how they should be talking and dealing with these patients. Now, one of the things I look for is receptiveness in the employee. Are you receptive to what I'm saying to you? Do you believe what I'm saying to you? Right? And here's the thing with that. I'm the supervisor for a reason. I'm the charge nurse for a reason. I'm supposed to know these things. I'm supposed to be here preventing these things. I'm supposed to be here educating on these things. I'm supposed to be here bringing these things to your attention. So if you're not receptive to it, then you're just an abusive person. And I got to watch you and I might need to turn that in. Right. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn that in. I'm going to bring it to the director of nursing attention, or I'm going to do a full house in service on how we should be talking and conducting ourselves to and while we're around our residents and our patients. Right. But if I bring it to your attention, hey, you're a little bit aggressive. What is there? Is there something that's bothering you? Yeah, I've heard it many, many times. Yeah, I got to give some. Miss So and So wants a shower. 110 wants some ice water. 104 wants to be changed. I just got a lot of things to do, and I'm just trying to hurry up and do it. Okay, well, I understand that. So how about this? How about for right now, you just focus on this patient. I'll go get Miss So and So some ice water. Have you prepared the things for room 115 to get her shower? You haven't? Okay. I'll get the ice water. I'll get the supplies ready for 115 for her shower. I'll let her know that you're coming around to take her to give her shower. And then that the patient in room 109 who wants to be changed, I'll go change the patient. But for now, just focus on this patient. You have help, just ask for it. Say that you need help. But when you're in a room with a patient, that is the patient you need to be focused on. And please be kind, be gentle, and be patient. Okay. And if they say, oh, okay, all right, well, thank you. And I feel a whole lot better. Okay, wonderful. If you need to go and take a little breather after you're done with this patient, feel free to do so. I'll watch your call lights. This is pretty much how I deal with staff. It's all in the receptiveness of the staff because I'm doing my job. I'm here to prevent abuse. I'm here to make sure that these residents receive quality care. And if you aren't on board with that, if I just get so much resistance from you and I don't know who she thinks she is. She this supervisor position is going to her head and she just think that she's all that. Well, that's not the right attitude to have because There is a reason why I'm here and I'm the charge nurse and I'm the supervisor, or I'm the med nurse. The med nurse can do this as well, right? A CNA can do this to another CNA. It just doesn't have to be the supervisor, the charge nurse, the DON, the administrator. Anybody can bring this to an employee's attention and saying, hey, I think, you might need to, take a breather for a minute or calm down. Is there something wrong? Is there something I can help you? Anybody can do that. We're all supposed to be doing that. We're all mandatory abuse reporters. So if we see it happen, if we suspect that it's happening, or if we feel like it's borderline, or if we just, we've assessed the situation and we figure out there's some way we can help to change the behavior or bring it to the person's attention. Oh, I've never seen so and such talk like that to a patient. Let me find out what's going on. Right? But hey, as a supervisor, charge nurse, med nurse, it's your job. And if they have a problem with you doing your job, then I don't know what to tell them. But then this is where they go and they start fabricating things to management so that they won't get in trouble. Like I always say, it's always who gets to the principal's office first if they think you're going to go to the principal's office. Well, I had no intentions of going to the principal's office. I just want to make sure that during my shift, I can let staff know that I'm here to help and we can work together as a team. And if we have issues on the floor, as long as we are able to resolve them, then this is where it stays. Right? It's all about building a working relationship with the people on your shift. But if you are going to be resistive to what I have to say and to the direction that I'm given and the way I want the shift run, then yeah, we're going to have a problem. I'm going to have to go to upper management and let them know that you don't have the ability to work with staff because you can't receive direction, correction, and instruction like you're supposed to be receiving at all times when issues arise. But like I said, a lot of times they'll run to management and they'll start fabricating things. Oh, well, I didn't like the way she said it to me. Okay, well, how did I say it? And then it goes into I don't have time for that shit. I don't have time for it. I'm here. I'm making sure things are running smoothly. Patients are receiving the care that they're paying for. And if you can't get with that, then I don't know. And it's funny to me how management can't see through the bullshit. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let's continue.
And that's when we decided to do what we did.
Which was what?
Was to put the camera in.
When you decided to put in a hidden camera, did you think you had the right to do that legally?
No, we didn't. We really didn't think about it that much. And it wasn't until actually later I thought, hang on, it is illegal to put that camera in, but then I don't care. We will suffer the consequences if there is any, because I had to put in for what's the best for our daughter. And that was it in a nutshell.
And as you'll see, what that camera captured broke their hearts. Our home should be where we feel most safe. But for Leanne Mackey, a 53-year-old with severe cerebral palsy, her sanctuary was turned into a house of horror, where she suffered hurt and humiliation.
Let me tell y'all something. That woman with the black hair, that is the devil's oldest daughter. She is the devil's oldest daughter. I mean, oh my God, when you see what this woman does to this patient, it was heart-wrenching. I was horrified through the whole thing. This, oh my God, this makes you want to just act out of character with this woman. I mean, you want her to catch a beat down. Violence is not the answer. Violence is not the answer. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, these are the emotions and the feelings that came up for me when this woman did what she did to this lady. I wanted her to catch like 20 beat downs from like 20 people. I mean, and then let her heal, and then stomp her down again. That was the emotion that came down. Torture, how they torture people, when they torture people trying to get shit out of them, answers and things I wanted. Whew, Lord have mercy. And I had to take a minute, because I was like, oh my God, you get these images and thoughts out of your head. It's not good. It's not good. Let's just educate on it. Let's just let the society know, or let me let my viewers know that, hey, please do not ever treat anybody like this, and do not ever participate in anything like this, and do not just be a bystander and witness something like this and not say something. I don't care. At that point in time, you can scratch my car up, you can flatten my tires, you can bust my windows out, you can do whatever the hell it is you want to do, but I'm turning you in. You're getting turned in. I don't care how mad you are. I don't care what you got to do in your personal life. I don't give 3 French toast cares about none of that. I'm turning you in. Matter of fact, I'm calling the cops. How about that? We're going to call the police, okay? We need 5-0 right here immediately. This woman needs to be taken to the deepest, darkest dungeon and put there for the rest of her life.
Behind the walls of this group home, the unthinkable occurred. The very people tasked with caring for Leanne were bullying and abusing her. If not for her parents, Rob and Lorraine, that abuse may well have continued.
Just
When you looked at this vision for the
Mom.
first time, what did you think?
I call out to Robert, come and have a look what they're doing. This is disgusting. I can't believe that the staff would think that they can get away with treating Leanne like this.
In an act of desperation, Rob and Lorraine had installed a hidden camera in Leanne's room. They could never have imagined what was really going on.
Let me back it up a little
In
bit.
hours and hours of recording,
Look at how they got her in this Hoyer lift. If that's not some Hoyer lift training that needs to be, and they're doing this on purpose. They know this is inappropriate. They know this is not the correct way to use a Hoyer lift on a patient. They are purposefully abusing and tormenting this woman. And why? She can't talk. She can't kick. She can't hit. She can't move unless you move her. So what in the world would make these people treat this woman the way they are treating her? Jealousy. Nothing less than jealousy. They're jealous because even though in her current state and condition, her mother and father still cherish and adore her. And I don't see how these women, anybody would cherish and adore them. And this is what they are jealous about. They are disgusting individuals, and this is why nobody cherishes or adores them. Look at them.
in hours and hours of recordings, what they captured was degrading, depraved, and dangerous.
Fuck off, slut. I was throwing a hat.
Unable to walk
Called her a hag.
or talk, Leanne is helpless as the women she has to rely on for care taunt and toy with her.
You see how she ripping that diaper from under her? Now, I've seen that done. I've had to literally stop a staff member. Stop. Okay. Let's fold that under her, and then we'll turn her to the other side, and we'll be able to pull the brief out that way. And then once we're done, I have to pull them to the side and say, hey, you can cause injuries from pulling a brief from under a patient like that. And I will have to I will have to get a brief, and I would say, you see this plastic tape, this plastic latch tape right here. When you pull that from under the patient like that, it rips their skin. So if you're ever a family member and you go in and you happen to assess your family member and you see scratches and rip marks on their skin where the brief ties around them or secures around them, that's a telltale sign that the CNAs or the staff, they're ripping the brief from under them from one side versus folding it under them and then having the patient turn and then rolling it up under them appropriately. I'm like, you didn't learn, what nursing school did you go to? A lot of times they didn't learn that in school. They have just seen other people do it, and it's easier for them to not have to turn the patient back and forth in order to perform the proper procedure, right? And it's careless, it's abusive, and it's causing harm to the patient, or potential harm if tears and scratches didn't occur to the skin. It's a potential for harm. So I mean, and it's crazy because when state comes in to see them change a patient, oh, you better believe they're doing it the appropriate way, but they're not doing it the appropriate way at all times. They're only doing it the right way because state is standing there watching them.
Her for their own kicks.
See that? I did. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm sick of doing that. Oh, she doesn't go to gag reflex.
Monica Panisco has been Leanne's carer for 17 years. Lisa Wilson for 4. 2 women Leanne has always trusted.
What is it? You try some. No.
As stomach churning as this is, it gets worse as Lisa spits down the tube into Leanne's mouth.
Oh. It sounded like she spit a loogie down there too, to where it wasn't something that was going to take time to drip down the tube. It seems like she spit a loogie in there, like something that was going to go straight into the woman's mouth through the tube, and so fast to where it didn't even it would and so so direct and so into the middle of the tube that it would seem that the loogie just went straight into her mouth. That is truly disgusting and wicked.
Joining in on the vile behaviour is Anastasia Mutzis.
See, look at Anastasia Mutzis. She looks very innocent, nice, young lady, somebody that you would, think would have compassion, and just a sweet young lady. And it appears that I don't think she would devise something like that on her own. To me, she looks like a follower, like she's just following. And if not, then they're going to turn the bullying on her. This is what happens a lot in skilled nursing. If you don't participate in the bullying, if you don't participate in the mistreatment of patients, if you don't participate in the vile things and the inappropriate things that's going on the floor, they turn that attention towards you. And this is one of the things they hate about me, because I'm just the type of nurse. I don't need your friendship. I don't need your inclusion. I don't want to be a part of your group. And get the fuck out of my face with that madness, and get away from me with that mess. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. I've always been that way. I don't follow devilishness. I don't lead the devilishness, and I don't participate in the devilishness. Right? So I've always been one to say that in order to be a fully functioning and good nurse, you can't be at home suffering abuse. There can be no one in your home hollering at you, smacking on you, degrading you, oppressing you. You can't have that at home. You have to be able to come home, get your peace, get your rest, enjoy your environment, spend your check that you earn from treating people good and giving quality care. You're supposed to be able to go out and spend that. You're supposed to be able to maintain your home, all the things in your home, and you're just supposed to be a person that is basking in peace once you get home, because that enables you to go to work and deliver peace and deliver good care and take care of these patients and take care of their business appropriate without having ill feelings because you just came home, you just left home from this nigga that done smacked you upside your head, or this man at home that's cheating on you, man or woman that's cheating on you, or this destructive and abusive and vulgar environment. Can't do that. Can't do that, right? I have to honestly say that the only time I experience, um, how do I want to put this? The only time I experience bad behavior towards me is when I'm at work and when I'm trying to help people, when I'm trying to do the right thing, right? When I come home, I come in the house, I close my door, and I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven with my Father God and his son Jesus. I'm in heaven, right? So I can go and I can give heaven, right? But when you're out here in the world, you're supposed to have on your armor of God. You ain't supposed to carry yourself like an angel in a devil environment. No, you're supposed to have your armor on and you're supposed to fight. And so if you ever see me out of character, if you ever hear anything, she this and she that, you best believe it's defense and not offense. And it's the defense that they don't like, because I'm not about to sit here and let you run over me like I'm some carpet on this facility floor. No, no, ma'am, no, sir, I'm not. Okay. I don't initiate stuff. I just try to make corrections, give instruction in services, and make sure these patients are not being abused. So if you hear anything bad about me, best believe it's defense, not offense. But anyway, let's continue.
Just disgusting behaviour. My heart just goes. I've cried so much over things, over all this since it happened.
I was shocked, horrified, it was very confronting. So was the rest of my team. We just couldn't believe what we were saying. The treatment was disgusting.
Detective Senior Constable Travis Kinghorn from Victoria Police was called in to launch what would become a 2-year investigation. Did it make you angry?
It certainly ignited a fire in myself and my team to investigate this and hold these people to account.
The Mackeys had gathered irrefutable and distressing evidence. This is hard enough to watch, but then what Lisa Wilson does next is sickening. What was the worst thing that you saw on those tapes?
When they were changing her, and they've got special wipes they use, and they wiped her and then they wiped her face with it.
You hear that? She wiped her vagina with the wipes, and then she wiped her face. But that's not it. Listen to and read what she said to this patient while she did that.
And said, "Can you smell your vagina?"
Can you see sweet face? It doesn't work with your ass.
That's not me work.
Yeah, we just say ass, but that's fine. No, this is not the vagina. So not this part. We can see the vagina.
You see that? There you go. You can eat pussy for dinner. I mean, and I don't know who this third person is right here, but wow. 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 This is physical, mental, and sexual abuse. This constitutes sexual abuse. And then look at her. She doesn't even have gloves on. Terrible. Wicked. I told y'all this is the devil's oldest daughter.
I don't know how carers who'd cared for Leanne for so long
I don't know, they'd find that funny.
could do anything like that. You know, just, one of the carers always used to say to me, "I'd like you as a mother," but that she did that to my daughter. I just can't believe that.
Can you smell it? Your vagina? You smell like fish? Hey, Monica. Oh shit! Don't even start. You know how much. Oh fuck! That's disgusting. Take this.
At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when the fear of getting it was fever pitch, Leanne was treated without mask or...
And then there's going to be an instance when the blonde-haired lady is caring for her by herself. And what she does, oh my God, I mean, it constitutes nothing less than her receiving some lead to the head.
or gloves, and then subjected to this. Monica Panichko claims she may have the deadly virus. She then spits in Leanne's mouth, claiming she wants Leanne to get sick too.
Y'all hear that? Look, watch what this woman does. Watch what the devil's second oldest daughter does. And you would think that the dark-haired lady was the leader and these were the followers. No, they're all leaders in their own bullshit. Watch this.
The healthcare workers have the virus.
have corona. So
In America,
if I have it, I won't feel it.
the hospital that's healthcare workers contracted the virus.
She spit in this woman's mouth. She spit in this woman's mouth. How could you do something like that? Oh my God. How could you go home and sleep at night? How can you look down at your paycheck and go spend the money from this and put on the clothes that you bought with the money from spitting in this woman's mouth? I mean, it's almost as if they're paying these women to abuse this woman. And when it was brought to their attention, they did nothing. It's ironic because I wonder what they're not showing us, because I think that everything in the world was done to this woman. This is horrific.
Inserting a pole into Leanne's mouth, inserting a cylinder into Leanne's mouth, sticking their fingers into Leanne's mouth, quite deep down into her throat, spitting into Leanne's mouth. You have to remember this was during a global pandemic, and Leanne was a very vulnerable person. Was also very compromised.
It could have been
medically.
a death sentence.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were abusing her. They were violent.
Leanne's disability advocate, Lee Mayer, has seen a lot in her career, but little compares to the life-threatening position Leanne was put in. One worker telling Leanne that she's going to give her COVID, at a time when COVID for a vulnerable person could have been deadly. That seems cruel to me.
It's wicked, yeah. And it is trying to abuse her because they knew they had the power to.
How much suffering does that type of abuse represent?
I think it's untold. And I think that Leanne still lives with the trauma, and her parents do as well.
Reliving it was pretty painful.
Leanne uses this simple communication board, shifting her eyes to our right to give a yes answer, to our left for no, to respond to questions about her terrible treatment. Did you understand why they were treating you that way? No. That's a clear no.
It's a clear no.
Did it destroy your trust? Yes.
Straight to yes.
We heard you crying out at night time on those videos. Were you crying out because you were in pain? Yes. Were you crying out because you were frightened?
Yes.
It must feel terrifying to be trapped, to feel trapped. Yes. Is that how you felt? Trapped? Yes. Her abusers might have felt like they had all the power. Lisa Wilson certainly told her so.
You're not a queen, you're not a princess, you're disabled.
But Leanne
Look at her. You're not a queen. You're not a princess. You're disabled. See, because this is how her family treated her. Her family treated her like a little princess. It was their baby, and rightly so. They had a child with a disability, and they felt like in order to, because this is an alert, this patient is alert. This patient is not dumb. They're not stupid. She doesn't have any cognitive impairments. She doesn't have anything that will cause her brain not to function appropriately. And I know this because, like I said, I had a little sister with cerebral palsy, and all her faculties were there. She knew exactly what was going on. She knew, she just couldn't verbalize it. She just couldn't have a verbal dialogue with you, but all her faculties were there. All this woman's faculties are there. And so her parents, they wanted to ensure that she knew that they loved her to death. They loved everything about her. They're accepting of her. And they just wanted her to feel loved and feel special, because she has to go through life being like this. And what parents wouldn't want their child to feel like a princess, to feel like a queen, to feel special, right? And this is what these devils were jealous of. They see how her room is decorated all pretty. They see how, her family brings her clothes and takes care of her, provides a lot of her needs and different things of that nature. And they're mad because they have to work for what they're getting. So instead of being good little stay-at-home wives and finding a husband to take care of them so that they can be treated like a queen and a princess, they have to get out here in the world, which they chose to do. And now they're mad because they got to work, and this poor disabled woman doesn't. And she still, in her condition, has people that love her.
Felt like they had all the power. Lisa Wilson certainly told her so.
You're not a queen, you're not a princess, you're disabled.
But Leanne fought back, demanding her most basic human rights. All she wants is someone like you to do what you promise to do. It's not that big an ask, is it? This is a special day out for animal lover Leanne Mackey, watching police horses at play as they show off their soccer skills. She's here with her mate, Detective Senior Constable Travis Kinghorn from Victoria Police.
What's the name of this one?
Morris.
This is Morris.
It was his investigation which led to charges being brought against 3 disability workers for their terrible abuse of Leanne, who is incapacitated by severe cerebral palsy. Lisa Wilson, Monica Pinichko and Anastasia Mutsis were all charged with assault. But as you'll see, justice was bittersweet and almost denied. It's evidence Leanne's parents, Rob and Lorraine, never wanted to find.
Stop it. Go to sleep. It's not time to get up. Stop yelling.
Their daughter in obvious pain, first ignored and then abused by the people paid to care for her at the Scope-supported group home Leanne has lived in for 25 years.
Yeah, just got to pause it for a minute.
It's too hard.
Yeah, it just makes me angry.
Rob and Lorraine had installed a hidden camera when their complaints to management had been ignored. Confronted with undeniable evidence, Scope had no choice but to call in police. If you hadn't installed a hidden camera, what do you think would have happened?
We would have found out none of that. And she would end up in a heck of a lot worse state than she is now.
You know what? Had they not installed that camera and found out all of this and stopped it, I can almost guarantee that they would have killed that woman. And then it would have been nothing. Only thing would have happened was it would have been covered up. They would have killed that woman. They probably one day would have fractured her. They might have thrown her on the floor. She could probably die from a broken hip. All that kind of stuff. The mother and the father, they are so lucky that they did what they did in order to stop this abuse. This is terrible. This is terrible.
They call you in to investigate. Did they express any regret about not believing her in the first place?
No, not at all.
When they're presented then with video evidence backing up what Leanne said the whole time, did they not hang their heads in shame?
They certainly didn't say anything to me. I think they have to protect their image, protect themselves.
How is it possible that in this day and age, Leanne could be treated that way?
What happened to Leanne is terrible, and we offer, I'm deeply sorry, and we deeply regret that it happened in our service.
Apologising for the failings of her predecessors, Lisa Evans is the acting CEO and current Chief Operating Officer of Scope. She says it's a very different place under her management, hoping to reassure Leanne, who now lives in a new Scope home. Well, Leanne says today she does not feel safe.
And that's really, I guess, it's awful. There's nothing worse than hearing that.
Shut the fuck up.
The video evidence collected over 18 months makes it clear why Leanne is still so fearful. It certainly seemed like all police would need in their case against the three carers, which went to court in 2022. Once it has been seen, it can't be unseen. How important was it to get it before the court?
It was vital. You can't argue with it, can you?
But there was a problem. Broadly, it's illegal to film people in private without their permission. So the biggest challenge was to convince the court to allow the covert footage to be used as evidence. After 2 days of deliberations, the court finally agreed. This would be the Mackies' greatest win, heralding a change in the law in Victoria that better safeguards people with disabilities.
We've set a really strong precedence now to say that we can use that footage to prosecute carers who mistreat our most vulnerable people.
In 2022, the three women who abused Leanne, Lisa Wilson, Monica Pinichko and Anastasia Mutsis, all initially pleaded guilty to assault. But their penalty was a slap on the wrist, convictions, minor fines and unpaid community service work. Most staggeringly, they all appealed, and while the charges were proven against Wilson and Mutsis, no convictions were recorded. As for Pinichko, An appeal court allowed her to drop her guilty plea and complete a diversion program, requiring her to apologise to Leanne and to donate to a charity of Leanne's choice. If she does so by August this year, there will be no finding of guilt against her.
I think they're very likely. They've
What kind of... She spit in this woman's mouth. She put this vulnerable lady at risk for death during COVID. Oh, well, I have COVID. I want you to have COVID too. And so she spits in this woman's mouth, and you're going to give her a diversion program? Oh my God. None of these ladies suffered jail time. They needed to go to jail and feel what it was like to have their vaginas looked at by strangers and bend over and cough and have to take showers naked in a shower room with guards watching them and eat, you know, the food and have to be told what to do and roughly handled. They needed to learn a serious lesson, because these slaps on the wrist, it's not going to stop them from doing what they're doing. They're just going to go get a job at a fast food place and start spitting in your food that they're giving you if you upset them. And then you might not have to do anything to them, just like this young lady didn't do anything to them. They're just going to spit in your food just because they're mad because you can afford to buy the food. I mean, who does that? They should have received whatever the full extent of the law in Australia could have given them for that abuse and torture. That was abuse and torture. They tortured this woman who did absolutely nothing to them but exist. That's terrible.
destroyed Leanne's life, and they've destroyed our lives. That's all I can think about every night is I hope Leanne's okay now.
So what should have happened to those women, do you think?
I thought maybe a little bit of time in prison just to understand that your freedom is, important to you, and so is Leanne's to her. But they didn't get that.
When you saw the videos, not only did you see the mistreatment of Leanne, but you saw the staff, you saw the culture of those staff members, their attitude, their resentment.
Yeah.
How can people like that work in a care industry?
They should never, ever be allowed to work with vulnerable people again.
But right now, there's no guarantee of that. All three abusers were sacked and temporarily banned by the NDIS watchdog from working in the disability sector. Incredibly, 2 of the women will be allowed to return later this year, the 3rd next year. But they could be in for a shock.
Keeping people safe, I think, is a fundamental objective of the scheme.
Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme of Australia, Bill Shorten, is furious.
I've asked the Disability Watchdog to look at banning them from life from the NDIS. I don't want them anywhere near this scheme. They've failed fundamentally as the code and the standards which you expect of people.
Well, you saying that, does that mean it happens automatically?
The Disability Watchdog is independent, but when I put my mind to something, I'll make it happen. I'll do everything I can within my power. I've spoken to Lorraine and Robert, and I think that everyone owes Leanne at least that much to make sure that these people are banned for life from the NDIS.
We're talking about the workers here very heavily, but what about the management?
The workforce should have been supervised. Scope should have done a better job.
The impact of the abuse on Leanne is ongoing. She's been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and there are days she just can't face.
And she often asks me, Mum, I want to die. I can't cope with this anymore. And some days I just wish I could drive and keep going. Because if things don't improve, I don't know how I can keep watching her suffer and not do anything about it.
When you say you sometimes feel like just driving,
Yep, just driving.
you and her.
Yep.
So you're imagining ending your lives. It's a big thing to admit on national television that you think about taking your life and your daughter's life.
The last 6 years, it's just been a nightmare. And yeah.
And honestly, I just don't know what happened to our daughter when we're gone.
Can I tell you what Lorraine says, what she really wants? She wants people to actually do what they say they will do. She's heard these things before.
Yeah.
You know them. They want to protect their daughter.
Yeah, of course.
That's what they kept getting told. Their daughter would be looked after. She'd be safe. She'd be protected. All she wants is someone like you to do what you promise to do. It's not that big an ask, is it?
It's not. I've given Lorraine and Bob and Leanne my word, and I stand by that, Tara. We will make this better for them and for Leanne and for every other client that uses our services. What happened to Leanne can never happen again. We deeply regret it, and we're genuinely and sincerely sorry that it happened.
I hear you're a big Lions fan. Thank you very much for your support. We've put together a nice little...
Leanne has much to live for, whether it's meeting her beloved Brisbane Lions heroes or knowing, despite her suffering, she has made a huge difference, something her parents remind her of in her darkest moments.
She has indicated several times over the years she's had enough. Keeps looking up heaven. She wants to go with Nana.
We say to you, you've got too much to teach people, you've got to stay.
Yeah, that's what I said to her. I say that more than once. He's not going to let you come here yet. You've got a job to do down here. You have to make people aware of what goes on. That's why he wants you here.
And you too.
You too.
If this story has raised issues and you need to speak with someone, call Lifeline on 13 11 14.
Wow. Whew. Yeah, that was Lord, my goodness. Hi, I. Oh wow. I know. Wow. That was that was crazy. That was just horrific. I mean, oh my God. Well, anyway, that is that I'm going to conclude my live with that on that note. Wow. This is, prevention of this has been one of my main goals working as a nurse, because it happens too often. It happens too often. It happens every day. And what's really, really hurtful to me is that people know about it, other staff in the facility know about it, and they aren't saying anything because they're in fear that they will be retaliated against. So they turn a blind eye to it. But there's no way I would turn a blind. There's no way I'd turn a blind eye. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, that was just terrible, and it was just something that I had to share with my viewers. I had to, I just had to comment on. I don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe it at all. Not at all whatsoever. And it's crazy. It's crazy that we have these types of demons out here, these types of devils out here. And I would plead to the devil to, you know what I'm saying, discipline his children. I mean, god damn, do you have to be that doggone wicked? Do you have to send your children out here in the world to be that doggone wicked? I mean, come on, really. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end my live here. I want to thank everyone who joined in. And like I always say, feel free to put your comments in the comment box after the live is done or whenever you have the opportunity to watch this video. Thank you and have a wonderful day, evening, night.